you deserve compensation? Listen up, because we have legal professionals standing by right now to answer your questions for free. You can find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. The call is free, the consultation is free, and you can speak with a live agent right now. So if you or someone you know were injured in an accident of any kind, call now to find out if you have a case and how much you could potentially get.
Thanks, Vernon. You heard it, folks. If you've been injured, call and find out how much you qualify for. Call 800-948-5880. That's 800-948-5880. 800-948-5880. Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
FM 1019, FM 100.5, WGNSradio.com. The Good Neighbor Network.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning on a Thursday morning. This is Bill Krause on the WGNS Radio Roundtable, the Thursday morning edition. And this morning we've got, I have to call it the 2 stalwarts of dealing with people in need, and have done this for a number of years. Both men really are so priceless for this community because they not only care, they're not only passionate, but they succeed in what they're doing. We're very, very fortunate and very delighted to have, first of all, Scott Foster. Scott is the executive director of Journey Home, which is just about ready to move into its new home, which we'll hear in a few moments. And we have Cliff Sharp, who's the currently executive director emeritus.
I'm the founder. I handed it off.
Oh, you turned it off. Okay.
My favorite word now is Ask Christy.
Ask Christy of the Greenhouse Ministries. And both deal with families and individuals, and we'll be hearing more about that. But I think it would be very appropriate this morning, since both men are very, very much of being a humanist, caring about people, to have a special tribute to this day 24 years ago of 9/11. And I know for all of us who were alive at that time, we can remember vividly exactly where we were and what we thought that entire day. So Scott and Cliff, if you'd like to kind of share, going back, setting the clock back 24 years ago, where were you when the news came through?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. We were just getting Greenhouse started, and actually we just moved over to the building on Lytle Street, and had finished getting it cleaned up and painted and all these things. And an interesting thing is that I had got my insurance license because I thought I would have to do something to support myself while we were doing Greenhouse. So I was giving a presentation to the Murfreesboro Housing.
Oh, really?
At that time, and I finished giving the presentation, and I got in the car, and my grandson had called me, and I had ignored it because I was in a meeting, and so anyway, I answered it. He said, "Did you see what had just happened?" This was when the first plane hit. And then I said no, and so I hurried over to a greenhouse, and we got the TV on, and you know by that time the second plane had already hit. Yeah, that was, and then an interesting thing I mentioned to it earlier. We had so many people coming by because that was the old Red Cross building.
You were located at the Red Cross at
right,
the time.
And so it gave us an opportunity to point them to where the Red Cross was, but it also gave us an opportunity to tell them what we were doing, who we were, and so it was just, in one sense, for Greenhouse, it was helpful. But you know, What a tragic, happening, and it changed the world.
It did. And then yet we have that horrible tragedy yesterday that seems to be 24 years later. Have we learned? Have we experienced? And what have you? Mm-hmm. Scott.
Yeah, I think back to that time I was on my way to Nashville. This is before the journey home. I still worked in corporate America, was a regional manager for Ecolab, and we didn't have the technology that we have today. So I was on the interstate driving to my office. When I got to the office, we had radios on. We had trying to get computer feeds to the news. And, it was, we were trying to get all the information that we could, but it was a very surreal day. But I remember that evening, I was a member of First Methodist Church for some 20 years, a lot of that when it was downtown. But that evening, every one of the downtown churches had their sanctuaries open, and just the parking lots were full. And, people were just praying for our community. And that's just, we still need that today.
Oh, absolutely.
We still need that today. So my reminder today, when thinking back of that, is that God is our provision, and God is the one we have to lean on to heal our land, heal our people.
I remember reading a Gallup poll that was taken 24 hours maybe afterwards. And it's a poll that I refer to in teaching American government and constitutional law on a continual basis. It said that over 80%, I'll repeat, 80% of Americans said put the Constitution on the shelf for 30 days. Let's freeze all civil liberties and let's find out what is happening. What are we looking at? You may remember we knew we had experienced 4 targets. Were there more in the waiting room and so forth? And always remember just in terms of how fragile our constitutional rights are when you had an episode like that. There was a story that came out a couple of days later. All the planes, of course, were frozen in all the airports in New York. And there's a group from Texas, businessmen who'd been there at a meeting, and they were held up having to go home. And they finally were able to get on their plane as the airport opened. And their leader was a big Texan 10-gallon hat, 6'4", and he's walking down the aisle, and he sees some of his buddies. True story. And he walks down the aisle and says, "Hi, Jack," to one of his buddies. Suddenly, the marshals got him pretty quickly, took him back in the room for 4 hours when he had said, "Hi, Jack." And it sounds funny 24 years later, but the intensity and the seriousness certainly pervaded our entire environment. Let's talk about today. Let's talk about 2025. A lot of changes have occurred recently, or in the process of change, or very soon to change, both for Journey Home and for Greenhouse Ministries. Scott, kind of give an update, including the new building, of what we are going to learn and see.
Sure, we are excited to be moving. That's always a challenge, and it's difficult to move from one place you've been in a couple of decades, even though it's just down the street. But we hope to have the doors open next week.
Wow.
We are largely moved in, but it still looks like, a bomb went off in some areas, many boxes that have yet to be unpacked and things like that.
Your address is?
The new address is 1207 Old Salem Road, and it is just less than a mile down Old Salem from our existing site.
You're close to the Salvation Army?
We are actually close to the Tennessee Department of Safety, where you go get your driver's license in that area down there, behind the new Circle K convenience store they built on New Salem. We're a block behind it on Old Salem.
Describe the building, size, nature, what is so special about it versus what you had for 20 years?
We've been blessed to have the old building on West Castle Street that we've used for such a long time, but it was small and not designed to do what we've done. Similarly to Greenhouse Ministries, over time, you grow and you serve more people, and you realize that you need a specific setup to do certain things well. And so the new building is a little under 20,000 square feet.
Wow, half an acre almost.
In that building, we have, of course, the programs that we've used for basic needs resources, our community cafe, our clothes closet and food pantry and those things, and also our case management counseling. We recognize the connection between economic stability, housing, and health. So in putting those things together, those are the things we're coaching. We also have an expanded suite for health and medical and mental health services upstairs. We're able to get even our administrative offices back under one roof. We had been separated since 2017.
You're at the church.
And we were over at First Baptist Church. They were a wonderful partner and still are a wonderful partner. So there are, just many, many improvements. We're looking forward to having the community over in October and opening the doors and letting everybody look around.
What's your food capacity? Can you feed more at a particular time?
The community cafe is similar in size to the old cafe. We can seat about 50 in our lobby. Most of the building was to expand other programs that help people take the basic needs resources and move further along in their journey toward housing and health and economic stability.
And Cliff, you've gone through some changes too with Greenhouse, and certainly in both gentlemen and both organizations are such phenomenal resources to this community, dealing with topics, subjects, and people that most people either are not aware of or don't even want to think about.
Yes, the people that are in need in this community is really expanding, and mainly because of economics. But we are now averaging about 70 families a day that walk in.
Wow.
You just imagine what it takes to work with that many people, because nearly all of them are coming in for food. Now, this doesn't include our classes and that type of thing, but when they come in, I really like to share this. When they come in, they see a peer counselor. These are not trained people. I mean, we train them, but and what we train them to do is just to listen to them and talk to them, find out what their real needs are, and then let them know that food and clothes are available. They don't have to tell us something they think we want to hear in order to get some. And then we pray with them. And the opportunity to pray with 70 folks a day is an unbelievable opportunity, and that's really the ministry of Greenhouse. Yes, we give food away and clothes and toiletries, and we have classes and all those things. But the most important thing is we get to talk to people and we get to pray with people.
But you're also housing people.
We have some guys upstairs. We have room for 17 people in our new building, and that has been a real blessing, and it's been a challenge. Trying to develop a culture where men really do want to change themselves. In their mind they do, but in their heart they really don't. I've got to visit with one of them when I go back in a few minutes. He hasn't been doing everything that he should be doing.
Is the prayer the bridge between the mind and the heart?
It really is, in my opinion. It's amazing after you pray for someone, after they come in and they fill out a form, we talk to them, everything. It's amazing how many times they'll want to sit and talk about something, because that opens them up to where they have a little bit more trust for you. And that's always the important thing. And Scott has said this over and over: if people don't trust you, you're never able to help them.
You're wasting your time and their time.
Well, you can give them things, and they're appreciative, and it helps. But if they really don't trust you, you never are going to really make any difference. Where when they really need something, they'll come back and call you.
I know the two of you and myself, we had the wonderful pleasure of initially working together, and it's hard to believe 7 years ago with Hark. Time does fly.
It does
But
fly.
on the other hand, and I always remember talking about this, is the overall profile of the people you serve significantly changed? You know, it used to be when you thought of homeless, a single man, maybe a younger man. Today you have women, families, and so forth. Have you noticed a significant change in the profile of people?
You know, Bill, that's a good question, and we have had some changes in the profiles of folks that we serve. While we still serve a large majority of people that have been in our community for quite some time, many of whom have grown up here, we do have some folks, more folks that have come from other areas seeking resources, and also jobs and maybe jobs that didn't work out as well. Our disabled and senior population is growing. In other words, folks are aging, and having a more and more difficult time to provide resources for themselves. And 1 in 5 of the families or households that we serve are families with children.
Wow.
So we have, a growing number. We see that in our school systems as well, with the students that are enrolled in the homeless student services. Families that are kind of broken up and people are staying at different places as they can. So largely it's the same, but in nuanced areas, it is changing. And, Cliff brought up a great point just a minute ago that there's a difference between people who need help and people who want help. And change is something that you really have to fight for. And you have to know that you're going to be in for a fight, and you're going to have partners with you. And I think just like Greenhouse Ministries, we strive to provide resources in a relational context. So we're building, relationships with people and inviting them to be part of community. And, that's really important. We're taking on a new initiative right now to work to provide coaching services for every single person that is coming in for services, not just those we're housing, but every single person, whether they're disabled, whether they are young and looking for work, whether quite honestly, whether they're not really looking to do anything, in order that we can help people move forward, or they can sort of recognize that this is not the place for them. And we can help them move on to other places or other things in their life, so that we can better focus on those that really want to move forward and want to be in relationship and fight for change in their life.
Getting a little deeper on this, and both of you have been doing this for decades, and probably all your life in one form or another have been reaching out in different ways to people. Can you identify, above and beyond alcoholism or drugs or what have you, causes? Do these causes that create this issue and problem, do they generally come with a long history of family and personal challenges of life, or is it all over the map in terms of what brings the person to this situation?
I think that the drugs and the alcohol is a result of problems they've had before. It's not that causes the problem. It's a problem they have that they turn to that for their medication, rather than that actually being the problem. It becomes the problem.
Yes.
But initially, I do not think it is. Scott was talking a little bit earlier. I think that the people that we're seeing now are probably not much different than the ones that we saw when we first first started, but we're seeing more of them. And again, the problems that they have are some that, again, as he says, they're afraid to change. I think that's the number one thing that I see in that could make a real difference, is a willingness to change and do something differently. The old Dr. Phil, well,
Yes.
how's that working for you? It generally is not. But I talk to people daily, and start talking about possibilities and everything, and their excuses are basically, I can't do that. And so it's that willingness to change, and as the program there at Journey Home, and where they're going to start really talking to everyone and seeing what they can do. It is not really a rewarding thing, in the sense that you do not see, we like to see immediate changes. And I found that we don't see very many immediate changes. On down the road, a lot of times people will come back in. But, as I tell people a lot, what is your success rate? My success rate is 100%, because I do what God tells me to do, and their changes is their job, not mine. And so we have to look at it that way, and that way we're not going to get burned out or feel disappointed because things don't work out like we think they ought to.
When Scott made reference a while ago of how many children are involved in this and families, would you say this type of behavior, and whether it's homeless or whether it's just, quote, at the bottom of the barrel, does it become a generational issue? And do you want to avoid new generations accepting patterns of behavior that their parents may have had?
Bill, that it certainly does. And I want to step back for just a second to your question about causes that, there are some causes that are systematic: high cost of housing, high cost of living, the employment environment, and that kind of thing, but also personal choices. And decisions that people make on what they're going to focus on, what they're not going to focus on, and a lot of people want to say, hey, it's all a system problem, or other people want to say it's all a personal choice problem or personal responsibility problem. And the truth is, it's a confluence of those issues in the individual context of that household. But let me share with you a few things that I've noticed over the years. The dissolution of the nuclear family. We need dads in homes. We need moms and dads together raising families. We need that example. The cultural
with
emphasis.
Quality time at the home versus 2 jobs to put bread on the table.
Well, if a single parent is having to work multiple jobs, they don't have the time.
Right.
And so children are being taught by their peers and by the culture and the television and social media and all those things. And so they're not being taught the lessons that they need to be taught. If we and I know this is maybe a controversial thing for some people, but if we get back to moral values and doing family and community the way God called us to do that, then we will find success. We will find that families grow, that people have more opportunities, that people know how to fight for those opportunities, that people rely on a resource that's greater than them to move forward. Another one of those pieces is just our whole cultural focus on the individual. I'm doing me and you're doing you and that kind of a thing. And the truth is, we need community. We all need one another. And so what happens is sometimes when people get in crisis, they find that they have no one. That those are a couple of pieces. Yes. Housing costs, yes, that's an issue. Economic, job environment and that kind of a thing, and wages, that's an issue. Personal choices, that's an issue. And certainly mental health, mental illness, we don't have some of those same resources that we had a couple of generations ago. And so now the new care for, people with serious mental illness, those clinics and residential care facilities are now jails and emergency rooms in the streets. And so, yes, there are a few core issues out there, but I tell you, it's not we're not to a point that it's not fixable. If we will get back to some of the basics of family and community and personal responsibility and systems that support that, we will be just fine.
There's a four-letter word that is missing on the part of many, if not most, the men and women and families that you see, and that word is hope for the future. And part of, I'm assuming, and I remember from recollections, that you both and your organizations concentrate, is attempt to create a hope by the individual that tomorrow might be better than today, and today hopefully is better than yesterday. And how do you inspire among the values, among the morality, among the culture that we're seeking? How do you inspire hope on the part of people? And hope's not just unique to the person at the bottom of the barrel. Hope is needed for everybody.
Our motto is planting hope in the borough.
Oh, okay. Oh,
And
I forgot that.
the importance of that, to let people know that there is a hope. And as we visit with the folks that come through our doors, we want to let them know that there is something better, and encouraging them to look forward. The hope has to be planted, but if you don't do something with the hope, then it just becomes a wish.
Or despair.
And right, because they don't think they'll ever reach it. But this is the thing, is being able to talk to them about their hope and the importance of hoping. But how do I reach what what I'm hoping for? And we have classes. I know Scott does lots of things, but working with them to help them change their mind in order to get there, because what they're doing is not bringing what they want. And so now we need to see what we can do to help. And a lot of times, I tell you, I just 200% agree with what Scott is saying. If we don't get the families and the morality and the things like that together, that God's plan, that's God's plan, then there will always be that disunity. But when we get the love, the grace, the mercy, the willingness to listen and see that maybe what I'm doing is not going to help me get where I want to be, when they start seeing that, you see a change.
One of the areas, Scott, did you want to talk about hope?
Sure. That Cliff's hit it right on the head. When people have others around them that are encouraging them, not just that they can accomplish their plan, but that they are valuable as people, that they are cared for and loved, and we want them to be in community. We want their success, and that they have a good, solid plan. We talk about creating plans with people to work through these action steps like Cliff's talking about. Yeah. We want them to drive the bus on what they want to do and become. We just want to help them create strategies and put the action steps in there that can help them accomplish that. And when people start to see that somebody cares, and they get a little victory here or there, one or two little things work, you can really create some momentum there. And it just really helps instill the fact that, hey, I can do this. And that is, let me say, that's why you wake up and do it every morning when you're in the kind of helping ministries that we're in. It is seeing those people give that effort to move forward.
Absolutely. We'll be right back. We're having a wonderful Thursday morning visit. And I think the discussion and the shared ideas of working toward the future, working to mend people's lives, working to bring faith and values and hope in the minds and the lives and the aspirations of people is a tribute in a kind of a weird way to what we're doing today, saluting 24 years since 9/11. 9/11 being the tragedy, these men and their wonderful teams and staffs are working to try to make the world better. We'll be right back after visiting with Scott Foster and Cliff Sharp.
Putting the big bat in our lineup since 1981.
This is Ben Ingram, and the Atlanta Braves play here. News Radio WGNS.
This is a breaking news alert from News Radio WGNS.
CBS News special report. New leads in the search for a gunman who assassinated conservative activist Charlie Kirk during an outdoor appearance before thousands of students at Utah Valley University yesterday.
We do have good video footage of this individual. We are not going to release that at this time.
Utah Public Safety Commissioner Bo Mason says they've recovered a high-powered rifle they believe the shooter fired from a rooftop before he jumped off and ran away.
Our investigators have worked through those neighborhoods, contacting anybody they can with doorbell cameras, witnesses, and have thoroughly worked through those communities, trying to identify any leads.
He says they've also recovered a footprint, hand, and forearm impressions. They believe the suspect is of college age and blended in on campus. President Trump spoke at the Pentagon last hour.
I'm pleased to announce that I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
CBS News special report. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
What's the location of your emergency?
I think my kid OD'd.
Hi, I'm Craig Harris. I'm County Commissioner of Rutherford County. One of the reasons I ran for office is because I wanted to bring awareness to the opioid epidemic that's impacting our county. To stop providing this epidemic with people as we educate. We have a lot to do, and we have to come together as a community because this problem's not going away.
Choosing the right insurance can be overwhelming. That's where Recall at Rayburn Insurance comes in. At Rayburn, we're not just about policies, we're about people. Recall will take the time to understand your needs and find the best coverage at the best price. We've been serving our community since 1973. So why not let Recall take the stress out of insurance? Recall at Rayburn Insurance Agency, where you're more than just a policy number. You're our neighbors.
Good Neighbor Events is brought to you by Old National Bank, the law offices of John Day, and AmeriCare Pest Control.
In today's changing world, you need a financial planner that you're comfortable with. Rely on the bonds that you've built with trusted friends at Old National Bank on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard here in the borough. And if you just moved here, visit us and enjoy warm, homemade cookies.
Honey, the cookies are ready.
Like Grandma used to make. Old National Bank. We're better together.
2230 Dr. MLK Jr. Boulevard. Old National Bank, member FDIC.
For almost 79 years, WGNS has been keeping you informed. We still do. Thanks for tuning in. The Red Cross is still critically low on blood. Please give the gift of life. Phone the Red Cross at 800-RED-CROSS and make an appointment to give blood at a time that fits your schedule. Another big event this Saturday and Sunday, the 35th Annual White Oak Craft Fair. That's at the Art Center of Cannon County in neighboring Woodbury. The White Oak Craft Fair, this Saturday and Sunday. And the 23rd Annual Wings of Freedom Fish Fry is Saturday. That's a must-attend event. It's over at the Azure Flight Support Hangar at the Smyrna Airport this Saturday. The gates open at 4 in the afternoon, and the event is from 5 until 9, and it's presented by the Smyrna Rotary Club. And a night of remembering Casey Clark, Saturday, September 20th, 6 o'clock in the evening at the Smith Fork District Association, remembering the guitar man, Casey Clark, September 20th at the Smith Fork District Association. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
We'll see mostly sunny skies here this afternoon with a high around 90 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy and a low near 61. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki from the WGNS Rutherford Weather Center.
Currently, it's 72.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. MTE's Drive EV program has resources for members who would like to learn more about all aspects of EVs. MTE is developing programs and educational materials to answer member questions. Learn more at driveev.com.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
This is Bill Krause, second round of the WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. One of the areas that it really had been impacting the communities that you serve were veterans. Are veterans still playing a role in need in terms of service, food, assistance, psychological, mental health?
Yes, sir. All right. We serve about 100 veteran households a year with various different programs. And that's one of those areas. We have a new director of operations. Our previous director retired earlier this summer, Billy Truesdale, who has come on board. Billy also worked for the VA for the last several years and is a Navy veteran, has also worked in federal law enforcement for a long time and local law enforcement. And we are just excited to have him there. But, you know, veterans do have some special needs, but also special resources that can be accessed for them. And so we're you know, always very excited to work with our veterans and try to pair them up with the resources for their needs.
You know, and so many times they, I know for us, they come in and just like Scott was saying, they don't realize that they have the resources they do. And that's the big thing, is trying to encourage them to take advantage of those resources, because a lot of them get where they feel a little, you know, so that they don't want to go, they do not want to have anything with the government, basically, to say it. But to encourage them and let them know that there is lots of things that can help them. But you get some of them, again, they're in a pattern and they just do not want to change.
About, I guess it's been over 10 years ago, the two of you, along with several other very passionate and committed people, created a coalition of organizations to deal with this as a community-wide activity rather than just on a one-on-one. And even at the peak of HARC, you had something like 60 organizations, faith-based and service and public and private partnerships, really working all on the same, holding hands and helping each other. How is the coalition today? Do you have a close working relationship?
It's very weak, but we would like to strengthen it. Actually, we meet today at 1 o'clock.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so it's our connection, and that was a culmination of years of us working together. You know, the first homeless coalition was when Mayor Jackson was here. That I know he called me and asked me to work with that. But it built, and then it gradually grew as people were seeing what was being done and what could be done, and so you know, lots of things can happen when you work together.
Yes, and success.
And I know for me, when we really started in with the R connection, I did not have a good outlook toward some of the government agencies. But when I got to know them, it's amazing how things can change. And so I think as we got to know each other, we saw even less competition and realizing that a lot of times duplication is good in the sense that somebody that comes to my place is for a computer class is not going to go to the library, or they're not going over to Patterson Park or someplace. So the more we have, the more people we can serve. And so, you know, I think that was the attitude that came. And so, you know, what can we do to work together? So we're hoping to start building that. We are meeting over at the greenhouse at 1 o'clock the second Thursday of every month. And basically what we do, we just talk about, you know, what's going on and what resources do we have that we can help other people.
I remember one of the many successful outcomes that came out was developing a very effective working relationship with the Murfreesboro Police. And certainly law enforcement is on the front lines of dealing with panhandling, if you may, or quote, people saying there's some people on the corner, I'm suspicious of them, or what have you. So a lot of good communication certainly had been created, including with both the city of Murfreesboro, County of Rutherford.
You know, Bill, that you're right. We have our host team, the Homeless Outreach Service team, part of MPD. Sergeant Wood heads that up. They do a fantastic job out in our community and working with those that are in crisis, as well as the agencies to help get them to services. They also have a collaborative effort with Volunteer Behavioral Health. They have some embedded trained crisis response social workers that are part of their team. And you know, that's the type of collaboration that comes out of the community coalitions, and its many iterations has been. Like Cliff was saying, back in the 90s, we originally had the Mayor's Homeless Task Force, and you know, that has gone through different changes over the decades. But those are the type of partnerships that come out of that, and we do have room to strengthen that for sure. But we also live in a community that does a great job with agencies partnering together. Thomas Rowe, who was our director of our housing authority, who recently retired, he had an issue with some property that they couldn't seem to lease back early part of the year. You know, Thomas and I started working together through the Continuum of Care coalitions, and he said, "Hey, Scott, I've just got an idea that maybe you guys can help me. I've got units that nobody wants to rent, but I know you've got people that need housing, and we're willing to fix them up if you guys can help be not just leasing agents, sort of, but case managers, and help people take this opportunity, do well with it to leverage to the next opportunity." And so we were able to come together, and through that partnership and some other grant partnerships, I think we got 25 different households housed within a matter of less than 60 days. All but one, to my knowledge, as of today, has continued on in that and doing well. And the great thing is that while these particular apartments will be torn down for future development sometime next year, as people go through the end of the year and Parkside, which has just recently been redeveloped, gets online, they're going to have the opportunity to apply for those permanent, public housing, subsidized housing spots that will create income-based housing for them for the long run, for their whole life if they need that. And those are the type of partnerships. We have some agencies that come and do work inside the Journey Home building, and it came out of those type of partnerships that Cliff's talking about. We come together in our community to get behind these efforts and help one another out. And we certainly want to grow that and make it stronger. Absolutely.
You made reference to the Housing Authority. How serious is the funding today for your type of programs with cutbacks in the federal level and so forth? Not getting into politics, but are you beginning to see effects? Because the city of Murfreesboro, County of Rutherford, certainly have been avenues of transfer of funding that they would receive. Is funding an increasingly critical problem for you?
We do not have a lot of government funding, so in a sense it hasn't. I think what is what is lacking at other places around us tends to bring people our way, because there are several people who organizations that use nearly entirely government funding.
Yes.
And they are hurting some, and so that will have to be taken up by some other ways, and hopefully we'll the community will be able to do that, and our community does.
Hey, we haven't seen a tremendous impact at this time, but Cliff hits the nail on the head when he says the general impact has driven more people, more need to our doors. There are some changes that are in the works. Much of the government funding that we take, which is less than half. It's a smaller portion, but a very significant portion still of the income that we have goes toward housing. It is for helping to pay rent where people can only pay part of it, and then we're picking up the difference. It makes a difference in them staying housed and their children doing well and that kind of thing, or creating new housing opportunities for disabled adults, senior adults, people like that, and that's where we're seeing maybe a little bit less available out there. It's more competitive, and but let me just say this, and I praise God for this. We live in a community that takes care of its people. We rely on our community, just like Greenhouse Ministries does, to step up and stand in the breach. If they know, people in our community know that we have neighbors in crisis, and they know that it's important for every one of us to step up and do what we can, whether that is through financial giving, whether that's through participation, through volunteer service, by bringing goods, all the different ways that people get involved. I tell you, that's where I bank on that. I bank that God's going to well up the hearts of his people right here in this town, and they're going to continue to provide for what is needed to take care of people in crisis at ministries like Greenhouse and Journey Home.
Absolutely, and certainly when you look at the growth of population of Murfreesboro and all of Rutherford County and its other individual communities, you see high percentages of growth. Can you plug in that homelessness or being in serious difficulty is a magical percentage of a total population? So if we've increased by 10% in population in a given year, does that mean the communities you serve have increased equally?
I would say that's probably true. As we grow, a lot of the people that come in, and I know Scott mentioned this earlier, they come looking for jobs because they think there's lots of jobs here, and then they get here, and these are not typical homeless. They're again, homeless is not a word you can define easily.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not an easily definable word, but a lot of them come in, and then the job that they thought they were going to get does not work out, and now what are they going to do? And then if they get stuck in, one of the hotels or motels, then it takes all their money to survive. And so I call those people homeless as well as the people that are actually living in the street.
Or underhoused, if you may.
Sure. Underhoused, for sure.
I'm going to put both of you on the spot and let your minds roam. And I think it would subtly add to the hope of the future that we all have, pray for, and love. Can you, in your minds, think of certain success experiences that have occurred with men and women that you served? Can you think of somebody who came to you after coming at a very low point of their life, and success, future, and hope, we keep coming back to that, is now an outcome rather than a dream?
I'm sure that both of us can think. I mean, when you said that, 3 different people popped in my mind.
Okay.
And one of the guys that moved in upstairs. He had a degree in computer science.
Oh, really?
But this was old computer science.
Okay.
And, he thought that's all he could do.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's not very many of those kind of jobs available. He had gotten on drugs and alcohol and, because he didn't have a job and all those things. But he's a sharp guy. But the thing was trying to encourage him to look for something different. Mm-hmm. And so I was visiting with him, and I told him, I said, this is my son-in-law. He's does cybersecurity. And so anyway, when he visited with Drew told him that, just look for a job that you think might be good. He said, any job you get, you're going to be trained anyway. They're going to train you. So anyway, he applied for a job with the company that's building the stadium.
Okay.
And I think he was more surprised than anybody when they hired him. Mm-hmm. But anyway, they sent him to 4 different schools and all this, making a lot more money than he even thought he would make. Mm-hmm. Plus he gets tickets to the ball game. But anyway, he is so excited right now because he took a step to do something different than he had been doing.
And circumstances worked his way. We'll be getting to Scott in a moment, but just a quick word from our sponsor.
We're News Radio WGNS 100.5, 101.9, 1450. Online and on your phone at wgnsradio.com.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
Get ready for an unforgettable night and support First Shot. Autumn at the Alley is coming to Oakland's Mansion Tuesday, September 24th from 6 to 9 p.m. Sip on fine bourbon, wine, and spirits, enjoy premium cigars, and feast on incredible food from the Alley on Main, all while enjoying live music under the stars. Proceeds benefit First Shot's Academic All-Stars and Send the Kid to Camp programs. Find out more on their Facebook page and through Eventbrite. Autumn at the Alley, September 24th.
I'll be right there.
It takes all of us to power a community, both in plain sight and behind the scenes. Middle Tennessee Electric, bringing good energy.
When the weather turns bad, minutes, even seconds matter.
This is an early heads up for southern Rutherford County.
Rutherford Weather brings you live radar and expert meteorologist insight, giving you the early heads up when storms threaten.
A lot of areas are going to see some impacts from this storm.
From analysis to live camera views, we keep you informed before, during, and after the storm.
I think the vast majority of the hail with this now is going to be quarter to perhaps golf ball size.
Rutherford Weather. Stay ahead of the storm.
At the Garden Patch Thrift Shop on Spring Street, we believe in more than just great deals. Every purchase you make helps Greenhouse Ministry serve over 70 families a day, offering hope and changing lives in our community. From name brand clothing to household items or even large appliances, you'll find everything you need at prices that will fit your budget. Plus, 100% of the proceeds go back to the ministry. Visit the Garden Patch Thrift Shop today across from the tall NHC building in downtown Murfreesboro, where shopping changes lives.
This is Chip Walters, and I'm honored to be your 2024 MTAR Realtor of the Year. I'm with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, and like many of you, I've seen the real estate market shift and change. People often ask, Chip, what's really going on? Well, that's a great question, and I believe in answering with solid, factual data. So let's cut through some of the noise. I invite you to reach out. Let's have a conversation about your real estate goals and the current market trends in your neighborhood. You can find all my contact information at choosechip.net.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Bill Krause in the final moments of the Roundtable, and we were now going to hear from Scott. But before I have Scott speak, and I'm really thinking out loud, I think we're going to have a particular show planned probably close to the holidays with the two of you coming back, and the entire time will be spent on you sharing the success stories. I think when you start seeing successes occur from effort, that's cause and effect that really motivate us. Scott, a couple of cases of success.
Sure. I love to think about those, Bill, and I just think about just in the last week, one of the folks that we worked with early on, who had been in our community for a number of years, had worked here, had lost jobs, had back and forth with some issues, I coached him, for a year, maybe longer than a year, and he was getting on the right track, staying clean and sober, and being motivated to work and improve. And, we said, hey, the best place to do that is where you've got family and support network. And we helped him get back out home on the West Coast. And he happened to see on the Facebook thing that we were opening a new building, and he saw a picture of me standing next to some of the same kitchen equipment that would have been there when he was there. And he reached out just to say, man, this is my place. Wow. And these are my people. And I just want you to know I'm doing great and appreciate what you and Geneva did to invest in me many years ago. I didn't know how Nathan was doing at that time. We've got another fella that as we reached out for volunteers to come help us move, we had worked with him and helped get him housed about a year and a half ago, and he's still housed and doing well. He was cleaned up. The nurse practitioner didn't even recognize him, and she had worked with him for a good while when he was in earlier. But man, he's just doing great and using that assistance that he got to help others. He's a person that struggled with addiction for a lot part of his life, and man, he is bringing more people to meetings and sponsoring more people and getting more people involved in community service that also have that same issue, so that they might start to sort of feel the purpose that he's gained. And so that's just a couple. Man, the list are as long as your arm, and I'm sure Cliff's are as well. And I tell you what, I appreciate Cliff Sharp. It was about 20 years ago.
Has it been that long? About
20 years ago when I started this journey at the beginning of 2005. I sat down with Cliff, and I sat down with the late Miss Christine Huddleston. And I just said, hey, where are the gaps in our community? What are the needs that need to be addressed? And, this might be the first time we've gotten to do something together on the radio.
Wow.
But I just wanted to just thank Cliff for his encouragement, and basically saying, hey, Scott, this is where we need you to play. These are the gaps, and we were able to stand in those places. And it was just good to be in community together, and that's just another example of how this community comes together, how agencies can work together. We like to see new people that are getting involved in things and try to help them get that moving in the right direction.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask each of you to give a shout out to your boards of directors, your volunteers, and significantly your team, your staffs that have made, without question, the success of your endeavors. So if you both want to give a shout out.
You cannot operate without that. Again, the key component to Greenhouse is the volunteers. Our staff is smaller than it could be.
Could be.
Well, no, we couldn't pay any more about it. But anyway, because of the volunteers. But, when it takes us about 500 volunteer hours of work for a week for us to operate. So it is. You have to have those, but again, as Scott said, this is an unbelievable community.
Yes, it is.
And the thing that also Scott just mentioned, we need to start bringing the younger folks along. Both younger folks to help minister and to work with the area, but also we need those younger donors and volunteers to start jumping in and seeing where their place is to make this community even a better place.
Give a contact phone number for volunteerism and a contact address where people can send their checks in.
615-494-0499.
One more time.
But let me tell you, the best way is everybody uses the computer now.
Almost everyone.
Almost everyone. greenhousemen.org is our website, and we're at 307 South Spring Street.
Perfect.
305 South Spring Street. I'm sorry.
So volunteerism, both in terms of time and in terms of a little bit of dinero, would be well appreciated.
Absolutely.
And Scott.
Yes. And
a shout out to staff and
boy,
the board.
I tell you, we've got a fantastic staff that is dedicated to every single person, helping them take a next step that comes in that door. And I love that team. Our volunteers, our board members. Man, we've got so many board members that just dedicate so much time and effort. Leslie Dodd is our current board chair, and Russ Galloway is our vice chair. Bill Reed, who
Bill's
was
been
our
with you a long time.
Bill's been with us a long time. In fact, he'll be rolling off at the end of this year, but he's our past chair, and man, he has been so instrumental in helping this building project particularly move forward, and just so many on our board, and that gosh, we just couldn't do it without them. Just like Cliff said, we couldn't do it without them. We need more and more people involved. And again, with us, the best way is our website, lovegodservepeople.org. In fact, our telephones are in transition right now. I'm not sure what answers when you call at the moment, but they'll be back in the new building. They'll be back going in the next week or two. But go to our website, lovegodservepeople.org. Find ways to get involved. We'd love to have you.
Needless to say, on this day in memory of the terrible, terrible tragedy 24 years ago in New York City, and also acknowledgement to the tragedies that we've recently experienced in our society, not only yesterday in Utah, but a couple of weeks ago on the train in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it goes on and on. But we do need a little bit of good news and a little bit of positive news and a little bit of hopeful news. And these two gentlemen and their teams, their appointed staff and their board members, devote hours and hours and hours to, quote, solve and respond to a very, very difficult problem. But the more I'm thinking about it, it's going to be around Christmas. You're going to be hearing from me before to have you back, and it'll be 1 hour of success. And it shows that, people in this wonderful community, both Murfreesboro and the broader Rutherford County, when they put their hearts together, their minds together, and their hands together, they shall succeed. Thank you, friends.
Looking forward to it.
See you then.
Subscribe to Big G TV, local content that matters to Rutherford County.